We are basically an organization which is working for the society, and we would want to grow along with everyone. It is not only for us. And it's the same thing that we say in our organization as well. The organization grows, the team grows, because we are happy to say that we are able to support 350 families of people working in our society, in our organization. That's a great thing to say.
Okay, alright.
Hi, and welcome to Startup Story Spotlight Podcast, a series where we feature various early stage innovative founders and discuss about their business, its working and functioning. In today's episode of Spotlight, we have the founder of GTM, Mr. Soumya P, live with us. The go-to company market platform has a consumer-first approach that delivers end-to-end solution from inception to the end consumers. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Shivangi?
I'm great, sir. I'm great. So, I would like to start from knowing how the three of you, such seasoned professionals, Avik sir, Soma ma'am, and you, with 20 plus years of experience in the field of business, came together and whose brainchild was the go-to-market company.
Fine. So this story goes back quite long. It goes back to, I would say 2001, when we, three of us, me, Avik and Shoma, we used to work for a company called Future Group, which was then called as the Pantaloons Company, and we were the first people who started the Big Bazaar hypermarket in Calcutta. So that's where our association started. However, we did not bump into each other into multiple, organizations after that. But that relationship still, went on well. In 2013, me and Avik, we thought of, starting up something of our own. We even spoke to a couple of brands because we were mostly into retail part of it by the time. We spoke to a couple of brands. Everything happened. But the only thing is that to be very honest, the 30th SMS that comes up to your mobile was actually stopping us or hindering us from moving ahead in that way. However, in 2019, me and Avik specifically, we thought that this is the year that we should actually plunge into it right now. Not obviously knowing that is it the right time or wrong time, whatever. We thought that we have to do something and start up it right now, because already we have wasted a couple of years by this time. But I think no more wasting anymore and look backward rather. We just thought of plunging into it. And then we started the organization in 2019 December. So you can obviously imagine the time. A couple of months later, things moved into a different, dynamic. So the pandemic comes up. However, we started off with a very small scale of work where we were doing a business consulting for a brand called Pure Nutrition. It was primarily into the nutraceutical or the wellness category. And we were also starting up a small vendor flex operation for Amazon, wherein what happens is that you run these smaller fulfillment centers for Amazon. So we were running such 4 fulfillment centers, very smaller ones, into the nutrition category, specific to the brands into nutrition category in 4 different places: Mumbai, Calcutta, Delhi, and Bangalore. So that was a very small operation that we started. However, since we were into the space of supply chain, e-commerce in that way, we managed to sail through. So 19-20 financial year, we hardly got roughly around 3 months to operate. We closed the year at a very small number of around 1.65 CR. However, 2021 looked promising to us. We moved into full-fledged third-party logistics operations. We moved on to more of a consulting bit there. And that year was quite promising, and we ended up the year 2021 at around 6.5 CR of business. That was the time when we understood that we were doing multiple things, and we should now sort of put this entire thing into one slate as to what we exactly doing and what are the verticals that we operate. That's where I'll share you the slide that we have, a corporate deck, that what are the verticals that we operate. So the first thing that we operate is something called a business operation. Business operation meaning that we do strategic consulting for sports nutrition as well as general wellness brands, thereby meaning that the brands, global brands wanting to enter into India, where we help them to strategize their entire piece in terms of marketing, sales, supply chain, as well as do the financial bit as well. And we are also responsible to deliver their top line numbers. It is not just the GAN part of it, but we are also supposed the executors to execute it to the market. So I'll take a brand by the name of Muscle Tech, which is from Canada. It was present in India. However, when we started, we approached them that how can we help them to grow better, and we finally ended up in getting the deal, and we presented them a 3-year horizon as to where we can take them to. So if I talk about the top line numbers for this year, roughly around 15 million. So that we are also responsible to deliver the top line numbers. In spite of all the pandemics and everything, we have been able to keep our promises, the numbers that we had then. They do not have an Indian entity, so we are also their HR partners in terms of the retail head, the supply chain head, the finance head, marketing head, all are on our payrolls in this way. Also, what has happened is that since this is a sports nutrition category, the raw material is nothing but a whey. Whey is basically a byproduct of a cheese. And basically what people use whey is they import the whey from US, not from any other countries in that way, because the US whey that is sweeter in taste. It has got a much creamier effect. But just before the pandemic, what had happened was that the cost of whey or the raw material was going quite high. During the pandemic, the ocean freight went up obnoxiously high, resulting into our landing cost into India being quite high, and we were not able to compete with the local brands as well. That was the time when we thought of moving the portfolio from US to getting it produced in India, because in India there are a lot many co-manufacturers who are US FDA certified plants and can do this similar kind of work. Only thing is that we would be importing the raw material from US, so doesn't make any difference in terms of this taste as well. So finally we ended up doing that as well. We moved 95% of the portfolio to India. And obviously, we whatever marketing plans was they required in order to back up the production in India, because obviously you say that when I see made in US versus made in India, I think there is a difference. So in order to come out of that from each and everyone's mind, we had to do a lot of marketing activities, a lot of brand clips to be created in order to get this thing better. So that is one part of the vertical that we run. Now coming to the major verticals of ours is the third party logistics. Into third-party logistics, we do warehousing, we do transportation. Warehousing in terms of B2B, B2C, D2C, E2E. So we have got pan-India presence. We have roughly today we operate around 1.2 million square feet of space across 16 cities. Now this comprises of your the entire thing that I told you, B2B, B2C, D2C as well. Our strength lies in the e-commerce fulfillment as well, and that's what we started off with. And we do a lot of e-commerce, fulfillment for various other brands. We do transportation, primarily full truck movements, and last mile deliveries for few customers, not for everyone. And the third vertical that we operate is the marketing. Since into marketing, we primarily do the performance marketing and digital marketing. In terms of third party, so if I have to say my entire business portfolio, the contribution is like 20-25% of the business contribution comes from the first vertical, which is the business operations. Roughly 70% of our turnover comes from the third party logistics, including the warehousing and transportation. And roughly at 10%, 5-10% comes from the marketing, which we have just started. Now, in order to do the work in terms of third party logistics, there are many players in the country and there are biggies of the world as well. What we have tried to do a bit different from others, so as to stand out, is that we do more of a social listening. Now, what do I mean by social listening is that when I'm being approached by an organization or if I approach an organization and I receive an RFQ in that way, it is not that I create a solution and give them a commercial offer. Finally, it might get closed and then I start up the operation. Not that. What I primarily try to understand is that what are the pain areas, and I, as a supply chain partner, would be able to help them and add value to their business. A small example from one of the brands that we operate for by the name of HomeLane, HOMELAINE. They are primarily into home interiors. A startup from Bangalore, around 6 years back old. So we started off with a very small warehousing for them in Calcutta in February 2020. With a small warehouse of 2,000 square feet, a billing value of 70,000 rupees a month. Moving from there to roughly around 400,000 square feet of space to a billing value of roughly 1 crore. Now, the reason how we moved on there was that initially when we started off, what happened was that we saw that since we were operating the spoke warehouse, the final feeder warehouse, the stock that comes in from the factory, from there it gets delivered to the customer's house. At the time of installation, they find that some of the materials, whether a hardware or a wooden panel or something, is missing, because of which the installation is not getting completed, thereby moving on to a bad reputation. The customer starts writing different, since today's world we are very open to the social media, they keep writing whatever they feel like, the bad impressions about it or the experiences. Similarly, the worst part again is that they have a commitment with the customer that from the time of delivery to installation, it is 45 days. If they cannot do that, then they end up basically into paying off the penalty to the customer. The penalty is one part. The worst part is basically the customer experience. Thereby, customer so they do not get further more business in that way. They were losing one in terms of the business. Secondly, in terms of giving away the penalty as well. So we as a supply chain partner thought that why don't we study their entire chain to see where there is a gap. Even though we were just doing one of the warehouses, we approached them to help to allow us to study that. But somewhere they after a lot of deliberation, they allowed us to do that. We did a supply chain study. It did not entail a very big time taking for us, because we first thought that at the first point, which is at the factory, what happens is the moment these stocks are produced, there is no confirmation between the bill of material versus what has got produced. Thereby, I at this packing stage do not know what is the difference. I just do keep packing. I move it onto the trucks, finally move it onto the feeder warehouses. We pointed out that this is the problem, and can we sort of devise something for you where you can try it out. I'm not saying you need to do it. You can try it out and see if it gives a result. We, on our own skill, what we did was that we actually created an Android-based platform wherein we just were uploading the BOM from the organization, and after it is getting produced, we're just tallying between the BOM and the produced material. There we found the problems was there. Till the time I don't get the final piece, this BOM doesn't get closed. So once we started off this process, this first leg got cleared. We scanned the product, moved it onto the trucks, moved to the final feeder warehouse. There also we scanned the product, unloaded them. Finally, going to the customer place, we scanned them and moved it. So the entire chain, nothing was missed out. Resulting, they started getting better feedbacks. Because this is more of a word of a mouth that works out more into this space. So that started happening. They started getting more and more business. Their penalties were reduced, obviously, and more than the penalty, they started getting a good reviews in that way. And that's what basically helped us to penetrate more into the organization. And that's what is our strategy as well, Shubhangi, where we think that we want to go vertical on a particular customer rather than going too horizontal, because the customer understands our capability, we understand their requirements well, and that marries very easily that way. So that's where we started doing the same thing there. And the year, as I told you, 2021 was a year where quite promising. We closed at 6.5 CR turnover. 21-22 has been really, really great for us. In spite of COVID, in spite of the pandemics and rather different disturbances, we ended up very well in closing the year at a turnover of 16.85 CR. So, and this year we intend to close at around 30-32 CR is what we intend. And our final target for 2026 is 100. So that's basically has been our journey, and this is the way we have been moving through. So that's how this is the way when we started thinking about and starting our journey. In 2021, we started our global operations with starting the sales and distribution in Dubai for this sports nutrition and general wellness. This year, 2023, we're starting up with the warehousing also in Dubai as well. We started our operations in Canada in 2022, June. Initially we started off with the online space, helping offline retailers or the very retailers working in a very primitive way there in Canada, moving them to an online platform, the online space. We would also be starting off with the warehousing space because we see a lot of potential there from this year 2023 as well. So that's been our journey till now.
Thank you so much. It's great to know how the entire journey has panned out for you. And the company, like you said, started in 2019, and it's been just 3 years, and we've come up with such good numbers, and we've managed to expand in Dubai and Canada. So, has there been any shortcomings as such in throughout your journey?
Yes. So there has to be shortcomings, otherwise, there cannot be learnings. So whatever shortcomings was there, we have taken them as learnings for us, so that we do not make such I won't say mistakes, but it will help us to move forward. So the shortcomings were in terms of at times it happened that we started off with doing business. So we were not too much I would say looking at our receivables from the market or so. We were just trying to expand. And then we saw that there are certain learnings as well in terms of, we also need to get our receivables correct in order to be a healthy organization. And that was the reason, and this Shubhangi happened in the year 1 itself, which helped us to move better in year 2 and year 3, where, we became a PAT positive company with around 11% PAT positive. We are a 19% EBITDA positive company. So, which basically helped us to control our business with a very positive approach.
Right. I mean, if the learnings or shortcomings that happen in the starting of the journey, it makes the longer run very smooth. So that makes sense. In the starting, you mentioned that 70% of the revenue, it comes from your third-party distribution from different markets. You've also expanded in Dubai, Canada, and Indian markets. Yeah. So how different are these different markets, and which one do you think is most profitable?
Yeah, so as till now, the numbers that I've spoken is only on the India business. We have not included any numbers of the global business as of now. As far as the global business is concerned, what we can see is that, especially in Dubai, like in the warehousing business per se, or the warehousing or the transportation both put together, has got a lot of potential. Because Dubai being the major transshipment hub globally today, so there are a lot of requirements for a warehousing there. However, the warehousing which is there today in Dubai, or the transportation in there is already at a level which is quite high. If I have to be there in the market, I need to be number one competitive. I need to have a better better understanding of the business, better solutions for that. Now, if I talk about Canada, what happens in Canada is that even though it's a western part of the globe, however, the supply chain bit is not that so progressive till date. It is still a laid back environment in terms of both transportation and warehousing. So the potential that we have is much higher in Canada in terms of that they are currently at, let's say, -1. So for me to take them to 1 is easier. But in terms of Dubai already stands at 5. So for me to take them to 10 or maybe to 6, there's a lot of work that I need to do. And I need to keep upgrading myself every moment. And also the resources that I would require to have a warehousing or a supply chain setup in Dubai needs to be far, far more advanced than being in Canada. Because in Canada, it is basically a negative as of now, if I see, maybe quite a few years behind us. But in order to take them further, it is easier. So a basic guy, knowing a basic of warehouse management system or a transport management system, or has designed a warehouse, would be able to achieve better there. So these are the two different dynamics of two different markets that we see.
Right. So, like you mentioned, it's been 4 years of your journey till now, and it also included the pandemic and the adverse situation it had on the economy. So, and how it affected the business sector too. So, how did it affect GTM, and was it a boon or did it have its negative effects on your economy too?
So, pandemic, as I said, did not have any adverse effect on our organization because of the fact that, I should really say it was a blessing in disguise, in a way that because we were into the supply chain space, we were into the e-commerce space. During pandemic, what we saw, or what we learned was that supply chain is really a backbone of any organization. E-commerce is what is the talk of the day, and that is going to be there because it was only the e-commerce platform what was being used by us to whether order our groceries or any other thing that we wanted. So, and being into that supply chain space, there was no adverse effect, rather it has basically helped us to move ahead. So if you see our numbers from 2021 to 2021, 22, obviously it has gone up. It is just because that we were into this space, that is the reason we were able to move ahead. Maybe had we been in a different space altogether, it would have affected us in that way, but it did not. And one just small reference in terms of, we initially started the organization, if you still see, by the name of 360-degree supply chain management. We rechristened our name this year, the brand name, as the go-to market company, because we believe that whatever gamut of work that we are doing, starting from the business operations to supply chain to marketing, so we see that there is an entire piece that we entirely do. So that is the reason we recasted our name as the go-to market company. And if you see our logo, it has got multiple vectors. We chose the color blue because of the fact that blue is dependable. Secondly, if you see the vector, out of the entire 5 vectors, one is a dark navy blue grade, which is basically V. That means the go-to-market company is such which can actually go and fit into any of the vectors. Here it is up to the customer to choose and whether you need the entire arena of work that we want to do with you, or whatever specific required is what we can also offer to you. Whether it is marketing or consulting or only transportation, warehousing, whatever, or we do the entire gamut. Sorry, I just skipped out.
Right. I mean, COVID did act like a boon to a lot of companies. It gave that time where the companies was not being directly hit by the economy, and also it gave the time to grow. So yes, and if you could, once define it for our audience and break it down for our audience, what exactly does GTM do, and what kind of niche in the business industry does the company cater to?
So, as I said, the niche in the industry would be the sports nutrition space, which is very, very niche in the country today. After pandemic or during pandemic till date, what has happened is that the good part is that people have become health conscious. Now, with people becoming health conscious, it has helped us to get more business out of it, because we are into a space where we would be able to help people get better. It is not only about the growing our business, earning money, it is also about giving back something to the society. So we are in a position today because we understand this category a bit better than anyone else. So we help people to become better in life, because with the different kinds of nutraceuticals, wellness products, with sports nutrition, we are able to do this to the society as well. So that is one part to it, is a niche that we do. And obviously into the supply chain space, again, I'm saying, as I told you, is that whatever we do, the major only word that we use is the social listening part of it. Because we want to understand you first and then work with you, or rather provide our solution. It is not just that we are here to only do business and make money. It is basically what is that we can give back to society is what we are doing.
Right, so that is again great to know. Any last message you'd like to leave for our budding entrepreneurs?
Messages like, as I said, the go-to-market company, we are basically an organization which is working for the society, and we would want to grow along with everyone. It is not only for us. And it's the same thing that we say in our organization as well. The organization grows, the team grows, because we are happy to say that we are able to support 350 families of people working in our society, in our organization. That's it, I think you can say.
That was great to know, sir. This was a conversation with the co-founder of GTM, Mr. Soumya P. We sure did learn a lot from you, sir, and the company's journey, and are leaving with great insights. Thank you so much, sir. It was an honor to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.